pretty by saying Shakira is so pretty. I can intensify the word busy by saying I was unbelievably busy. Extremadamente. Unbelievably busy. So if I ask you, how was your day? How was yesterday? Miss, it was incredibly busy. So I know that you're intensifying that you just were only busy. You were incredibly busy. Those are the ideas of the intensifiers, okay? Those are the things that you use to intensify things. Now, let's arrange the conversation step by step. So she started asking, so how was your day? And he says, unbelievably busy. We already know that busy is an adjective, and unbelievably is an intensifier that you use to intensify the meaning of the adjective. Okay? And it says by 9. ¿Alguien tiene su micrófono abierto? Si cerramos el micrófono, por favor. By 9, I had taken the placement test, registered for class, and bought my books. Which are the 3 things that he did before 9? He did 3 things. Which were the 3 things? Volunteers? Which were the 3 things that he did before 9? By 9 means para las 9, I had taken the placement test. I had registered for a class, and I had bought my books. Those were the 3 things that he did before 9. Okay? That's a lot to do before 9, she says. That was nothing. At 10, I had a meeting across the town. So he has to cross all the town. At 10, got to the meeting. And by 1 o'clock, I had already arrived back at the school for my class. Okay? So at 1, he had already received the classes. Okay? Return for the classes. Obviously, before 1, he went to the meeting and had returned to the classes. What about lunch? It says. What did you do? What did you do about lunch? Well, when I got to the class, I hadn't eaten yet, so I just got a snack. Snack that chips, a cookie, a yogurt. Wow, I'll bet you're pretty hungry now, because right now probably it's 1. Okay, so if you realize they are describing activities that happen before certain time, and that is the idea of the past perfect. I know that you already know that you have seen the present perfect. The present perfect, do you remember the present perfect? Yes or no? I have visited United States 4 times during the last year. Or I have eaten lunch already, or I have met my cousin Susie at the supermarket. I have. Now we're going to see the past perfect. Okay? So I'm going to show you a very short video that talks a little bit about the past perfect. Okay. Yeah, this is short.
We use past tense to express past before the certain past. How will you state which happened first? That is the time we use the past perfect tense. Past perfect tense expresses action in the past before another action in the past. It is basically the past in the past. The sentence, I had eaten lunch before I reviewed for the exam, is an example of past perfect tense.
Okay, now look at this one. Present, and this is your past. And there are two activities. One is the first, or that happened first, and then you have the second activity. Now, and something happened in the past. In the past, I had eaten lunch before I reviewed for the exam. So reviewed is before I studied for the exam. So she did two activities. Oh, I have my exam. Yesterday I had an exam. Okay, I had an exam. But what did you do before the exam? Before the exam, before I took the exam, I had already lunch. So what did happen? I had my lunch and I studied for the exam. That is the idea of the past perfect. An action that happened before the past, or action that happened before the past, and everything stays in the past. Okay? Never touches the present. That's what it says, a past in the past. Okay?
The first event in past, based on the illustration, was the act of eating lunch. So, we have to use the past perfect tense. To write it, follow the pattern had plus past participle, like had eaten. The second event in the past was the act of reviewing. Since it was the last event, we only have to use simple past tense, like reviewed. The preposition dictates the location of the events. If you use the preposition before, like in this sentence, the first event in the past should be in the first part of the sentence, and the last event should be in second part of the sentence. Another example, I won the quiz bee after I had reviewed hard. In this sentence, the preposition after is used. So, the first event, had reviewed, should be in the second part, and the last event, won, should be in the first part of the sentence.
Okay.
Take
now,
note
basically, that was the first part. I give you the link of this one, and I explained to you a little bit more about. I have another video that shows a little bit about more the grammar part. Okay. So I will give you this one. I will show you this one.
The past perfect tense is used to describe an action that happened before an action in the simple past. The formula is subject plus had plus past participle.
That is a grammar structure.
We can use the past perfect to tell us which event happened first. For example, if we add the word had to this sentence, Peter had moved to Paris, we know that this action happened first. But if we put had in the other sentence, Mary had found a job in Paris, now this action happened first. Here's an example. He failed his test because he hadn't studied. Here we use the past perfect tense to describe the first action, and the past tense to describe the second action.
Okay, look at this one. What was the result? This is my result. I failed the test. I failed it. Do you know what is fail? I failed. Perdí el examen, o sea, lo perdió, failed the test. También puedo utilizar I failed the course. No pasé el curso, lo perdí. Okay, I failed the test, I failed the course, because he hadn't studied. Obviously, what do you do in order to pass a test? You're supposed to study first. Okay, and that's what he's explaining. He failed his test because he hadn't studied. Okay, an action happened first, that's the other action.
Describe the second action. Another example. She had not seen Canada. Again, we use the past perfect to describe the first action, and the past simple to describe the second action. Using the past perfect can change the meaning of a sentence. Let's compare the two sentences. When he arrived, the train left, versus when he arrived, the train had left.
What?
In the first sentence, when he arrived, the train left, this means he arrived and the train left immediately after. But if we say, when he arrived, the train had left, this means that the train left first, and then he arrived. So, he missed the train.
Did you get the idea? Yes, two actions happening in different time, but everything in the past. Okay, that is the past. And let's go for this one. Okay, the book is presenting you all this. I will explain one by one. I wanted to give you the general idea and then explain one by one. Okay, so the past perfect. All the perfects, you already know that all the tenses that are called perfect is because they had the same formula. You use the third column of the verb. What is the past participle of the verbs? The verbs, they are divided in regulars and irregulars. And also they have like three columns: the base form, the past, and the past participle. Or the base form, the past, and the past participle. All the past participles that we use are used in the perfect tenses. Okay, it says, use the past perfect to describe an action that occurred before a specific time in the past. Look at the timeline. This is a timeline to see the order of the actions or the order of the events. Form the past perfect with had is the auxiliary and the past participle of the verb. Look at this one. This is all past. This is your timeline. This is 12 o'clock. And this is 11 o'clock. 1 hour before the action. We arrived. The meeting ended. The meeting ended at 11, sorry. We arrived at 12. The meaning of this is the meeting had ended before we arrived. Okay? So what action happened first? We arrived and the meeting ended, or the meeting ended and we arrived? What action happened first?
The meeting ended.
The meeting had ended before we arrived. And to emphasize the time of the actions, they use by, already, or yet. When you see the by, when you see the already, and when you see yet, it is like 100% like you're talking about present perfect, past perfect, all the markers, because they mark a specific time. By, already, yet. Okay? El primero. By 4 o'clock, the tour had begun. By 4 o'clock. Do you know what is by 4? Yes? Do you know what is the meaning of by 4? ¿Qué sería by?
Para las 4.
Ajá, para las, by 4. By 4, the tour had already begun. Number 2, they had already eaten when their friends called. What was the action that happened first? They had already eaten when their friends called.
Friends call. The call.
Okay, no, which was the first activity that happened first? Or in chronological order? La más reciente es
They
friends
had
call. They had eaten. That is the chronological order. Their friends were eating, and then the other friends called. And everything stayed in the past. Now, already. Do you know what is already? It's a very, very common word.
Ya habían comido. Ya habían
Ya. Ya. Already es ya. Ya lo habían hecho. Ya habían comido. Okay? When the flight took off, the storm hadn't started yet. So first, the flight took off. What is took off? You are on land and took off. What is took off?
aterrizar.
Despegó. Okay? The flight took off. When the flight took off, the storm hadn't started yet. Okay? Jet. What do you think is jet?
aún.
Todavía no. Es en negativo. Todavía no. O aún no. Okay? Hadn't started yet. And they say that by, you can use it at the beginning. Already, you have to use it before they had and between they had and the verb in past participle. But with jet, it is very common that you leave jet at the end of the sentence. Or it says hadn't yet started. Or between jet, between had, and the verb. The most common place for the jet is at the end. But you can use it between the auxiliary had and the past participle of the verb. Look at this one. Use the past perfect with the simple past tense or the past of the verb to be to clarify which of the two actions occur first. The meeting had begun late, so we didn't have lunch until 2. First, the meeting began, and then we had lunch. By the time the tour was over, so when the tour was over, Anna had already met Kazuko. So what action happened first? First, Anna and Kazuko met. They met each other. And then the tour was over. Okay? And everything stayed in the past. Never touches the present. Okay? Now, in order to get this, the book is presenting you here an exercise in which you have to choose what is the correct meaning of the sentence that you have here first. Before it says, choose the correct meaning. This sentence, number 1, what is the correct meaning? A or B? Let's analyze it. Before they decided to have the meeting in Bangkok, I had already decided to take my vacation there. What action happened first? A, first they decided to have the meeting in Bangkok, then I decided to take my vacation there, or the letter B. First, I decided to take my vacation in Bangkok, and then they decided to have the meeting here. There, sorry.
B.
A or B?
B.
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 B. Very good. It's the letter B. Very good. Number 2. By the time she got to the meeting, she had already reviewed the agenda. A or B?
A.
Okay, first, she reviewed the agenda, and then she got to the meeting. Number 3, they had already asked us to turn off our cell phones when the CEO began her presentation. A or B?
A. A.
Okay, Yes, very good. First, they ask us to turn our cell phone, and then the CEO began her presentation. Logically, they say, turn off your cell phone. Why? Because the meeting will start. Okay, very good. Questions about this? Do you get the idea? We're going to do this exercise, and you're going to do it by step. Okay, don't worry.
Teacher, I have a question. Excuse me.
Yes?
For example, with subjects, we use the same auxiliary. Had with I with.
See, with all the objects. Yes, with all the subjects. I use
Okay.
I had, she had, we had, they had. Yes?
Okay.
All of them is the same. Okay? Another question? Do you remember the past participle of the verbs? ¿Se recuerdan del past participle of the verbs? Yes? ¿Cuál sería el past participle of drop?
Dropped.
Dropped. Ajá. Dropped. ¿Cuál sería past participle of take?
Taked. Taken.
Past participle of take.
Took.
Took is past.
Taken.
Taken. Packed. What would be the pack? Pack.
Packed.
Packed. Okay. What would be the pick?
Pick it up.
No. Picked.
Okay, pick it up. Huh?
Picked. Okay. What would be return? Return. Okay, no. Lunch. Lunch? Is lunch a verb?
No.
No. ¿Cuál utilizo para lunch? Necesito un auxiliar ahí para lunch. Que diga, que sea para nosotros almorzar, cenar, desayunar.
Lunch.
Para...
Have lunch.
Yes. Yo puedo utilizar have lunch or eat lunch. Pero puedo utilizar have dinner or eat dinner. Have breakfast or eat breakfast. En este caso, ¿cuál sería el participio de have?
Have.
Ajá, very good. ¿Cuál sería el participio de eat?
Eaten.
Eaten. Very good. I have already eaten. See. What could be see?
Seen.
Okay, very good. We're going to have only a return. What would be return?
Return.
Return. See. Seen. Pick or ready. And get. Get a manicure. What is the past participle of get?
Gotten.
Gotten. Very good. And those are all the verbs that you're going to use in this one. Let me move them here so you don't have to. Okay, here. Okay. Now, let's go for, no. I'm going to place them probably. No, aquí. Lo voy a tener que poner aquí. Bueno, ¿se recuerdan ustedes de esos? Okay. So, let's try to analyze the first exercise. In this exercise, they are giving you a to-do list. This is a to-do list. All the things that the person has to do. And you have to complete it with already or yet. Okay? Remember that the past perfect describe an action that happened before the simple past. Okay? So at 8:30, number 1, 8:30. At 8, Meg has to drop off the laundry at minute wash. At 9, nothing. But at 10, she has to take the cat to mom's house. Look at the number 1. At 8:30, Meg, what is the action that happened at 8:30, before 8:30?
Do the laundry.
Uh-huh. But how do I do it in the past perfect? At 8:30, Meg
Drop it off the laundry at... No leo qué dice. Pero sí creo que es...
Are you sure?
Down the laundry.
Had drop.
Uh-huh. By 8:30, Meg had already dropped off. Vamos a ponerla aquí porque no me cabe. Bien, tal vez sí. Okay. It says at 8:30, Meg had already dropped off her laundry, but she para las 8:30 ella ya había llevado la ropa a la lavandería. Pero ¿qué no había hecho? Antes de las 10. ¿Qué no había hecho? Todos les dicen que utilice el past perfect. Nunca va a encontrar aquí un simple, un pasado simple. Todo es past perfect. Siempre le dan instrucciones. But she hadn't yet taken.
Hadn't yet taken.
Ajá.
Lo siento, ¿es hadn't o hadn't? Hadn't.
Yes. Hadn't yet taken the cat to her mom's house. Yes. Why? Because at 10, she has to take the cat to his mom. Okay? What is the action that happened first? At 8:30, Meg had already dropped off her laundry, but she hadn't yet taken the cat to her mom's house. Okay? Let's try to do the number 2. Vamos aquí con las 10:45. A las 10:45, algo que ella ya había hecho. A las 10:45, ¿qué tuvo que haber hecho ella ya?
Already taken.
She had already taken the cat.
Very good. Had already taken the cat. Okay. Y así nos vamos en cada una. By the 10:45, she had already taken the cat to her mother's house. Okay. This is something that she had already done before. But pero algo que no había hecho for the meeting.
Pack for the meeting.
Uh-huh. But in past participle?
She hadn't packed for the meeting.
She hadn't yet packed for the meeting. Okay. Very good. Who wants to do the number 3? Who wants to try the number 3? by 12:15,
Sorry, miss, one question.
yes,
Jet. Jet va between had, the auxiliary and the verb. Jet.
yes.
Okay.
Recuerden que tenemos dos formas aquí. El jet queda hasta el final. Lo puede dejar hasta el final. Pero
O
aquí,
inmediato.
pero aquí no lo puedo dejar al final. ¿Por qué? Porque aquí tienen otra cosa. Tienen
Ok.
un complemento. Entonces me indica que lo pongo aquí.
Ok,
¿Okay?
thanks.
Si no me hubieran puesto una línea aquí, lo puedo colocar aquí. ¿Ok? Hadn't packed for the meeting yet. Pero no me colocaron una línea aquí. Entonces lo colocamos en medio. Number 3. Who wants to do the number 3? By 12:15, she
Had picked.
had already picked up. Had already picked up the sales vendors at the office solution. But she
Hadn't